Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the TRIF3CTA Sports Podcast. I'm Frank. I'm here with Dave and Coob. We have I would say, mediocre show planned for you. I'm just kidding. We always have great shows planned for you today. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're listening, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and like the video. Share it with your buddies, like always. Just a little quick update about college baseball. We talked off the air a little bit about Kentucky. You know, I'm a Kentucky guy. We're all three. Well, you know, Dave's not born and raised in Kentucky, but he was raised pretty much in Kentucky.
Raised from not Virginia. Born. Raised not born.
You're from Virginia, Dave. But anyway, shout out to UK baseball. University of Kentucky had a huge week this week in the SEC tournament. Won 3 elimination games in a row. Unfortunately, fell last night to the University of Tennessee. But they did a lot of resume building there toward the end about possibly getting into the NCAA tournament, maybe making it to a regional. But we'll see what happens after all is said and done. But I just want to give a quick shout out to UK. I've enjoyed watching them the last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, first ever 12 seed to win a game in the SEC tournament. So that's pretty cool. And then the guy last night against LSU had a no-hitter going into the 7th, I believe. So
yeah, and I don't know if many people know this, but like in baseball, not every team even makes in the SEC tournament. So UK had to actually win a few games there toward the end of the season. Had to beat Auburn a couple of times to even make it into the SEC tournament. So, you know, a team on the outside looking in on their conference tournament, making some noise, making it to the semifinal when really nobody else thought they could or would is pretty huge. A couple shout outs to Guilfoyle. The dude was a stud all weekend long. The bats, I know Ryan Ritter is a stud in the at shortstop. John Thrasher, big speed guy playing center field, you know, sold out for his team yesterday, face first into the fence, trying to catch a ball, got knocked clean out. Hope he's all right. But, you know, the future's bright for UK baseball. There's a lot of good talent there right now. Coach Mingione, although he does take a lot of criticism about, you know, outgoing players, you know, he recruits very well. And he gets a lot of junior college guys, and he gets that transfer portal well, which we've all talked about transfer portal, whether it's good or bad. You know, it's not really up to us to decide. But at some point in time, you got to figure it out, and you got to go get the players that you want, and that's what he's done. So I would say there's quite a few guys on this team that are going to get drafted, especially out of the pitching staff. But if the season has come to an end, I just want to say congratulations to all the Cats. Big baseball guy here, so it's always nice to see local teams do well on the national level. We're going to move on. I'm going to let Coop and Dave talk about the NBA playoffs. I believe the Game 7 between the Celtics and the Heat is tonight. I'm going to do my best today to get this podcast out before then. Kind of slacking in terms of getting things out quickly after we record it due to personal issues and me being a full-time teacher and high school baseball coach. But unfortunately, our season came to an end yesterday. So it's looking like we're going to have a little bit more time and freedom to hang out with my family, my kids, and editing podcasts. So, yeah. All right, NBA. Take it away.
Yeah, so I've been kind of in and out of the NBA playoffs. I haven't watched every game. Tried to catch as many as I could. For the first time watching the NBA playoffs, I felt like it was blatantly obvious that Game 6 of the Celtics Heat series was influenced by the league. I think everybody had Boston winning going in. They started out the game looking like they were going to win, and then 5-6 minutes left, the narrative of the entire game just changed. There were missed calls on out of bounds plays. There were questionable foul calls. There were questionable no foul calls. Completely shifted the momentum. Was not a good look. I mean, there was a lot of public people that have the same stance I do, even other athletes in other sports. I saw Micah Parsons commented on it, like just in amazement at how badly the end of that game was officiated, and it was very lopsided. I'd love to see the NBA do something like MLB does with umpire grades. I think it would be harder to do because it's not, pitch by pitch. You don't have that strike zone, but I'd still like to see a grade there. Would also love to see them talk to the press after the game because that would have been a good press conference to see.
Yeah.
Outside of the
I totally agree with
officiating.
that.
Yeah,
I think
it should be in every sport,
especially at the professional level. We ask players, we ask coaches, we ask general managers. Well, they all have to answer to their problems, but officials do not. And I understand that officials have a tough job. It's probably one of the hardest jobs to do in professional sports because they do take a lot of criticisms. But on the other hand, if they know that they're going to have to answer for their actions, they're going to have to think twice about some of the decisions that they make on the court or the field. I do think it would help bridge the gap between knowledge between the general fan and the officiating because a lot of the fans don't understand the rules, quite frankly. And I think it would be helpful for just a general fan to hear an official's opinion on why certain calls were made. I do like the grading system, and it is possible because we have Pro Football Focus who grades every single player at every single position. And it wouldn't be that difficult, I would imagine, to grade, I don't know, there's probably how many officials? I'm not even going to go into that, but it wouldn't be that hard to grade each individual official. You have one person assigned to every game and then grade all three officials in basketball. So.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I think it needs to happen. There were so many examples in that game. I mean, the out of bounds that wasn't called on Jimmy Butler where the Heat kept possession. Kyle Lowry literally being the closest defender by sports metrics on the three-point shot from Al Horford when he was on the bench. Like, he's that close to the court. He was the guy that got credit for defending that shot. It wasn't even in the game. You got to clean those things up. But the most amazing thing about this series to me is that Jaylen Brown may be the most talented basketball player we've ever seen that can't dribble. Everything he does is 2 right-hand dribbles. That's it. That's all he's got. Doesn't matter where he's at. It's to the rim or he's passing. 2 right-hand dribbles, that's it. And $20 million a year player, 20 points a game. I don't know how he's made it this long and continues to do it, but Jaylen Brown, he can't dribble. He cannot do it.
Yeah, that's my take on watching Game 6. We were messaging back and forth, watching it live. The refs definitely played a factor in it, but I don't think the Celtics did themselves any favors. Why they didn't challenge the out-of-bounds call on Jimmy Butler when it was literally 99-99 with like 3 minutes left, I don't understand because that would have clearly been overturned. Then I forget his name, but the one guy just kept fouling, just reaching in, and it was a ticky-tack call, but he was actually fouling. It's like, well, the refs are clearly blowing the whistle for the Heat, so why even give him that opportunity? And then you get the biggest blunder of them all with Jaylen Brown missing two free throws. And the height of the game where it's like that clearly shifted all the momentum to the Heat. I mean, the Heat had the momentum, but when he missed those 2 free throws, because it was impressive. I think the entire game up to that point, the Celtics had only missed 1 free throw, and the Heat either were perfect or only had missed 1. I know PJ Tucker missed 1, but like that right there is, I think the refs didn't help him out, but the Celtics were, they were the cause of death for their own death. I think they could have withstand or overcame some of those if they would have just played a little bit smarter. But we got it. The greatest thing in all of sports is Game 7, and I think tonight will be actually absolutely electric. Haven't heard if Tyler Hero is playing yet tonight, but hopefully the former UK star is in the lineup.
Yeah,
it's always nice seeing Kentucky guys making deep playoff runs. I enjoy that.
Yep. I think one thing you look at the whole NBA playoffs is, both sides right now, small ball is taking over. You can't name 2 centers in the conference finals at this point, like 2 true centers. You got Bam Adebayo, and then after that, and I don't even know, Bam's probably a 4 10, 15 years ago.
I'd put him at the 4 for sure. I mean, what is he, 6'10", maybe?
Yeah, they're taking over. You got Draymond Green at 6'7", PJ Tucker at 6'6", Grant Williams at 6'6". Those guys are playing the majority of the minutes at center for these teams. I don't know if it's good or bad. It depends on what kind of basketball you like to watch. I think it makes the defense better in those games when you have guys that are that versatile. You see a lot more switching. I think it has been a defensive Eastern Conference playoff.
Yeah.
So just interesting to see that the game is shrinking.
Well, and that's why, we've probably talked too much about Armando Bacot and Shibwe, but that's the thing why they are coming back to college is because they are, Oscar is like 6'9", 6'10", but our Bacot's, I think he's 6'11", 7 foot. He's a true center. And it's like, well, you got to go guard those guys. And, they're clearly not good enough on the defensive end to be able to switch and guard a shooting guard or a point guard, because that is what the NBA has turned into. It just set screens and get the matchup you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not much of an NBA guy. I'll fully admit it. But the NBA playoffs is something that I do like to watch here and there. One thing that I have been watching, and we're going to switch gears here to the NHL playoffs. Unfortunately, Dave's St. Louis Blues had taken the fall in the series against the Colorado Avalanche, the same team that swept my beloved Nashville Predators. I did watch most of that series, by the way. And my wife has too, so she's kind of getting into it as well. But NHL playoffs, Dave, you want to take over?
Yeah. So
who we got left, and then if y'all want to go ahead, we can make our pick. Stanley Cup champions today.
All right. So yeah, we had the heartbreak in St. Louis where Colorado scored with 5 seconds left to put the nail in the coffin on the St. Louis Blues. As a St. Louis fan, I'm sad, but it's hard to watch 6 of those games and not say Colorado was by far the better team, offensively and defensively. So not really a huge surprise over here, but let's see how far the Avs can go. They'll be taking on the Edmonton Oilers, who we talked about last week. They have Connor McDavid, aka McJesus, probably the best guy on skates, handling a puck and just doing whatever he wants with it. They have a very loaded, I believe, first and second line offensively. Then they kind of lose their depth. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle Colorado's constant pressure that they were able to sustain against St. Louis, who again had 3 to 4 lines of offense. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. Now on the eastern side, you got Tampa Bay waiting for the winner of Carolina and the New York Rangers. The Rangers tied up the series yesterday, 3-3. So I'm not really sure who wins that Game 7. It's going to be at Carolina, so it should be, best thing in sports is Game 7. It's going to be electric. But I'm favoring Tampa Bay in that series as well. 3 straight years of making it to the conference championship. I think that experience plays. So who do you guys, if we're going to go on to picks, who do you guys want?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to pick either. I'm not going to pick Carolina, and I'm not going to pick the New York Rangers. I think the winner of this Stanley Cup comes out of the West. I think it's either going to be the Oilers or the Avalanche. From what I've seen, I think the Avalanche has proven that they have been one of the better teams in the playoffs this season. They were the only team that swept their opponent, I believe. I don't know if there was any other sweeps going on. Wait, no, Tampa Bay swept somebody else.
Tampa Bay just did it, yeah.
Yeah, never mind. That's my fault. But I just feel like I'm going to go with Colorado.
Yeah, I think Tampa's definitely on the east side. I agree with you. Coming out of a Game 7, the other team's had a sweep. You might have one letdown game from that time off, but that rest is definitely going to pay off, especially you probably are the better team. You've been there 2 years in a row. You've won it 2 years in a row. So I'm going with Tampa on that side. This West matchup, I think it doesn't always happen in sports, but a lot of times the emotional toll it takes to get to the championship prevents you from winning it. And I think that the West playoffs have been an absolute battle. Maybe it's because I've watched a little more of them, but I mean, the Blues were a really good team. Like, I enjoyed watching them. They were super physical. Avalanche have not had an easy series there. It's not going to get easier with Edmonton just because, I mean, I know McDavid doesn't make every play, but he clinched 2 series in a row, right? I mean, he made the winning play. So I think those two are going to beat each other up. Don't know who advances. I'd probably give an edge to Colorado, but I think Tampa wins 3 in a row.
Dave, our beloved hockey guy, who you picking?
Man, I mean, I have an NHL bracket with the family, a little challenge, $3 entry, and I really need the New York Rangers to win tomorrow night because everybody's got Carolina going and I don't. But I got in my bracket, I got Colorado and Tampa Bay facing off in the Stanley Cup. And, looking at Colorado, it has been 20 years since they won a second round matchup. And I believe 20 years ago is when they last won their Stanley Cup.
I vividly remember that.
So I feel like Edmonton, it's just, I haven't watched any of their games, so I probably am ignorant to even talk about them, but I just don't see how their defense is going to be able to stop Colorado. I'm going to agree with Frank. I'm going to take the Avalanche. I think, St. Louis, it was 3-1. They probably shouldn't have won game 5. Scoring 2 goals in the last 3 minutes to tie the game, I don't think it's ever been done in the second round or something like that. So I think Colorado is clearly just a wagon at this point. I think Tampa Bay is a little bit older. They do have that experience, but it's going to be interesting to see because I don't think whoever comes out of Carolina, New York, I don't think it's going to be a sweep for Tampa Bay again. So I just don't feel like their body's going to be hold up, whereas Colorado is younger. They have a bunch of guys contributing. Their defense is solid. Cale Makar might be the best defenseman in the league, and he's only like 24. So I got Colorado in my pick 'em. I'm taking Colorado on the show. I don't like to hedge.
I do think the best series is going to come out of the West. I think Edmonton and Colorado is going to give us the best hockey, and probably more likely to go into a Game 6, Game 7 type situation, simply because you have one of the best teams versus one of the best players. Sometimes the best player can carry their team up to the level that they need to be to get to that point. But I do think that's when I'm going to watch a lot of that series, just because I saw Edmonton and who would they play last? What is it?
Calgary.
Calgary. Yeah, Calgary Flames. I saw that series. It was very high scoring. The Battle of Alberta, very big rivalry, a lot of big hits, very passionate fans. I was really enjoying that. And I think that although Edmonton may, take a hit here at the first game or two due to the fact that they are, worn out, they're tired. That was a tough battle. Same thing with Colorado. But I just feel like Colorado has an edge for some reason based on what I've watched. And I'm zero professional experience watching hockey, but I know sports and I know how things work and I know how, teams work, and what I see and just in my experience of watching even things that I have no idea about, you can kind of understand how, teams are formed and how they work together and things like that. And I think Colorado is going to be holding the Stanley Cup in the next couple of weeks.
The one crazy thing that I even hate to bring up is one huge variable is going to be COVID testing crossing the border. I'm not sure about this, but I think this would be the first matchup for either Colorado or Edmonton where they have to go between the United States and Canada. And I know a lot of teams that were playing in Toronto, they would fly into Buffalo and drive across the river from Buffalo because you wouldn't get COVID tested. So I'm not really sure where Edmonton is. I'm trying to pull it up, but my internet's being slow. So that's, I think,
don't crash us, Dave.
So that's one variable I hate to bring up, but it could be a huge factor.
Reality.
So it's going to be interesting.
So NHL, something we're really looking forward to. Before we get into some NFL talk, do you guys got any burning topics you want to speak about?
We got to touch on the fantasy football beef in the MLB.
Oh yes! How did we miss that?
We didn't even talk about that.
This has been electric.
Yeah.
Tommy Pham, is he a gangster or not?
He's wrong.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just wanted to make
Tommy
sure.
Pham's wrong.
He's being a little bitch about this whole situation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I know Joc Pederson is not like the role model you want your kids to grow up to be, but I don't think it's kind of like the Juwan Howard. I don't think you just slap a dude over anything unless like he's talked bad about your family. But apparently, I've seen the story. I've not really brushed up on the details, but from what I understand, pregame, Reds and who are they playing?
Giants.
The Giants. Joc Pederson plays for 1,000 different teams. I can't even remember what team he plays for anymore. Reds the Giants pregame. Apparently, there's a fantasy football beef going on back from when Pham played for the Padres. Some things were said. He's pretty much like, "Don't mess with my money, bro." Slapped the shit out of him. And then fully admitted it to the media. Basically, it was about a fantasy football situation. They're in a fantasy football league together. Apparently, I would assume that's high stakes with those guys.
Yep.
But man, we don't even take fantasy football that serious.
No.
I'd never slap one of y'all because you said something about it.
I came close.
No.
I'd probably slap Derek before anybody. Shout out Derek Talbot.
Reading the story, it sounds like it was over an injury designation.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm on Joc Pederson's side is because it's something that I do pretty religiously.
I do too.
Put a player who is out in your IR spot so you free up a roster spot for that coming week. We have a pretty large roster, so we have 3 IR spots, and I'm notorious for doing that at the end of the season to prevent other people from having keepers from season-ending injuries and to allow myself more options. I picked up Deshaun Watson last year, week 17. Not because I was going to play him, but because he's on my roster as a potential keeper now because I knew he might land somewhere. If it's inside the rules, you can do it. To me, it's difficult to cheat in fantasy football on your own. You can conspire with somebody. You can do some dirty trades and things like that.
Or if you're the commissioner, you could do some things. But
yeah,
Coop would never do that.
No, I've got checks and balances in place to prevent that from happening. We do represent all three members of the league committee.
Yeah, I'm third on the totem pole, by the way.
Yeah, you are.
It goes Coop, Dave, me.
But it's ridiculous. Honored, you can't let this flow over into your place of work. I mean, that's what it was, right?
Can't.
He confronted somebody at work.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to fill in some more gaps because I just love it because both guys are just openly talking to the media about it. Like, they don't even care. It's like, yeah, I got slapped. And he's like, hell yeah, I slapped the dude.
To hell with, trying to freaking win a baseball game.
Yeah, it's like,
you mess with my money, bro.
Yeah, but now I saw a video from last night from Joc talking about it a little bit more, which was if you got time, go look it up. It's gold. The guy brought receipts. So, we have the original story of Jeff Wilson Jr. being out. Pederson was stashing a guy on IR that had an out designation, picked up another guy. I don't see a problem with that. That is within the rules. That's why you have an IR spot. If you don't like it, take it up with your commissioner and change it for the next year. I don't think that's a reason to slap a man. But Joc brought the receipts last night, and he was talking about how, Tommy Pham apparently is a super serious guy. If he's got money on the line, he doesn't play no games. He doesn't joke around. He's a straight-laced guy, no jokes. So, Joc Pederson, former Dodgers, I guess he is friendly with some of the Padres, and I guess there's 4 or 5 Padres in this league. So, of course they got the group text going. And then I believe it was 2020 when the Padres were very good and going toe-to-toe with the Dodgers. And then they hit that slide. I believe it was like September, maybe it was like the dog days of August. and Joc Pederson sends a GIF of I think it was like 3 weightlifters, and it was like Padres, Dodgers, Padres, and the 2 Padre guys like dropped a weight on each other, and just good, clean fun. Like, as a sports fan, I love to hear that it's not just between the lines. These guys are talking shit in their fantasy football team leagues to each other because they're playing against each other. And Tommy Pham took exception to that, and apparently. So that was like week 3 or 4 of the NFL season. So it would have been September. Do the math. He actually left the football league, which I think is baby soft. Like,
yes.
Especially if it's don't mess with my money type stakes. Like, did he just forfeit his money? Because if I'm the commissioner, you paid up, buddy. And if you
ain't getting back.
No.
You're not coming back either.
So
you quit the league, you don't get back.
Just because you got a beef with some guy? No. You finish out the season, you get a guy to replace you. You got better ways to handle that. So I think Tommy Pham completely in the wrong here. Joc Pederson, love him, hate him, but I go watch his interviews, people. It is electric. the guy looks funny, and he is just a funny individual. And the fact that he whipped out his phone and was like showing the media their conversation was gold.
One thing I don't understand about the situation is why did it take so long for him to do this? Like, football season was forever ago. Like, we're at the halfway point of a baseball season almost.
Well, I think
is this the first time they've seen each other since then? And then you're just you remember that back in the day? I'm gonna go whip his ass. Right, I'm during BP. I'm gonna go whip his ass.
Wasn't Pham with the Brewers last year? So he get traded or left the Padres? Am I thinking of that right?
That I don't know. I thought he came straight from the Padres.
Either way, he's defending an old team. Yeah. He's not even on that team anymore.
And then Pederson, I mean, heck, he's been moved. I mean, Braves, Giants, Dodgers.
Started out with the Dodgers.
So, I mean, maybe it could be that was his first chance to slap the guy.
Man, homie, don't forget, son. That's what he said. Let me go take my round of BP, hit like 4 or 5 bombs, and I'm going to go slap Joc Pederson right in the face.
Have you all seen the video of it, though?
No, I haven't.
No, I have not.
So they finally came out with the video of it, and it was definitely like Tommy Pham told somebody, "Hey, you want to record this?"
like a middle school bathroom file.
Oh yeah. It's just like a cell phone. It's like shaking. It's like, it is gold. Just go down a rabbit hole and look up those videos, and you'll have a good chuckle for about 20 minutes.
I probably, I wonder if I can insert some video in here without getting copyrighted. I doubt it. I'm not even going to try. Don't need them strikes on me, bro. Don't delete our account. But that's a good topic. I'm glad you guys brought that up.
Yeah. One thing I do want to bring up real quick. I have no concrete stats on this, but Miss Jane has been on my butt for a few weeks. We got to mention Ryan Howard, number 1 overall pick for the Atlanta Dream. She's killing it. So I believe she was I think
she was match player of the week 1 week. Scored 100 points in less than 4 games. The girl can ball, and rightfully so. In college you don't really get to blossom as much as you should. Don't get me wrong, she was an All-American 4 years in a row in college, but once you get drafted into the WNBA, and that's something that it's not really highly televised, so people don't really know about it. And it is something that we probably need to highlight more. So thank you, Jane, for bringing that to our attention. Jane is our most loyal listener. She listens to every show. So
through 7 games, just to get some stats to back her up.
A shout out. Go ahead, Coop.
Through 7 games, averaging 17.5 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, steal and a half, block, over 80% from the free throw line, over 30 from 3. So great start to the season.
She'll be an all-star probably.
Oh yeah.
What's the Dream's record?
I don't have that. I'm on individual stats.
Too big of a question, Frank.
Go look it up, guys. Go look it up.
Yeah, we can't Google. Let's Google that real quick. Atlanta.
I can't Google it. I'll crash the podcast.
Yeah, Dave will disappear on us.
They are 4-3.
Hey, the Atlanta Dream are 4-3, by the way. They're actually winning a game right now, 65-41 against the Phoenix Mercury.
Oh, there we go. That's pretty
Let's
good
see.
for a team with the number 1 overall pick.
Let's see. Box score. Right now, Ryan Howard, 24 minutes, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 9 points.
You'll get
The
that
Atlanta Dream. Yeah, she ain't gonna get that. It's the fourth quarter. That's another thing. Why the hell can we not have men's college basketball play quarters? Everybody else does.
It's the only division of basketball in the world that does not play quarters.
I don't understand it.
I think it's advertising because I saw they're adding another media timeout.
But that's fine. Do media timeouts too. You can have one halfway through the first quarter. Then you have one at the quarter. All kinds of media timeouts at the halftime. Start of the third quarter, halfway in between the third quarter, end of third quarter, start of fourth quarter, mid fourth quarter, end of game.
They are.
That's too many commercials.
I'd love to sit in on a college basketball officiating clinic because it is like clockwork. Every 4 minutes there's a TV timeout, right? Under 16, under 12, under 8, under 4.
They barely make it through past 4 minutes before they
There's never a dead ball in the last 10 seconds before that benchmark.
I think
but there's always one. Yeah, they probably do. They're aware. But I don't get it. They got to fix it. Right now they have, how many is that? 5 TV timeouts a half without anything extra going on, without coaches calling timeouts.
16 minutes. I know there's
16,
under 4,
12,
under 16.
8, 4.
Is it 12 and 8? Okay. And then you got halftime.
Yeah,
so that's
every 4 minutes.
Almost 10.
I think they're adding. I think they're adding.
If you count halftime,
another one.
But that's so dumb. That's so stupid.
It is.
Terrible. Play 4 quarters and get it over with.
It is a 40-minute game that takes over 2 hours to play.
I think I wouldn't be opposed to resetting the team fouls at the end of every quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it, but
nobody wants to see somebody be in the freaking bonus with 12 minutes left in the game. Double bonus with 12 minutes left in the game.
Play better defense.
No, that's dumb.
Play better defense. It should be quarters regardless. I don't think they should.
It should be quarters, but you also said the DH was dumb, so I don't believe anything y'all say.
And so did America. Have you looked at the poll?
I don't care about no poll. The DH is good. No, we're not getting into that. We're not getting
spend 20 minutes on it.
All right, we're going to switch gears real quick. We're going to take the rest of the time today to talk some NFL football. Completely transparent. We haven't planned this segment at all. It is basically us bullshitting who we think, what team made the best moves in the offseason. It could be trades. It could be signings. It could be coaching changes. It could be, renaming of the team. It could be firing your general manager. It could be your president, a.k.a. Washington Commies, being an idiot. It could be anything. So I, for one, am not going to volunteer to go first because I simply have no idea what I'm about to say. Just being completely honest with you. Do you guys have anything on your minds that you think could qualify for best offseason move for an NFL team?
But since it looks like you guys are both thinking and reading really hard, I'm going to hijack it for a second and delay for us.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not reading anything. I'm not even looking it up.
I'm not either.
This is going to be off the top of the dome, fellas.
This is about the commies. They didn't do anything good this offseason. I don't have anything good to say there. But do they not feel like an expansion team right now?
I think they to me, they do.
Obviously, they don't have the fan base that we thought they did because they were forging ticket sales. They were, reporting that they had fake attendance. They just changed their team name. They're looking to build a new stadium. The ownership and front office are both in turmoil. Like, it feels like this is a team just getting off the ground that we don't know if they're going to make it or not. But they've been a franchise for decades. Like, I don't know how a team gets to that level of restart. Like, they are a brand new franchise right now. And they're struggling.
Yeah. I think it's bad when you get excited about, Dan Snyder purchased $100 million in land. Oh, we're going to get a new stadium finally. Yay.
Yeah. But nobody will So I listened to this. I got the local kind of DC sports radio where I'm in the Richmond area. Was listening earlier today, and nobody wants to do a deal with him. There's multiple places for sale. They've agreed on price. Nobody wants to enter into a contract with him.
Yeah.
And as the owner, they can't get a stadium built because of it. Like, I don't know what they're going to do in Washington. And that's a side conversation, but you had mentioned them there.
How do you get rid of an owner?
Is there a process? Other owners.
Yeah, you get
the other owners be like, "Hey, dude, you need to sell your team." But like that, if you think about it in smaller terms, you know, he's an owner of a company, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
So the owners of other companies, let's say that I own the McDonald's down the street. Who's going to be the one to tell me that I have to sell my McDonald's? How is that any different than owning a professional sports team?
I believe Ronald makes that decision.
Yeah. No, I think there's a board. I think there's a board of McDonald's people. So like McDonald's are franchisees. So you have to like buy into the board or whatever. So the board makes all the decisions, which is like the same thing. So the board in the NFL is just
there's got to be
owners. You have 30 other owners to report to.
That makes sense. Well, somebody needs to get their shit together.
Yeah. So back to the main topic. Who made the best offseason moves? I got to go with Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, no, that's what I was just about to pick.
I think they had the best offseason. Free agency, they
definitely had one of the best drafts.
Great draft. Even if you don't include A.J. Brown, I think it was a good draft. Mm-hmm. But if you consider him part of draft night, that was outstanding. And then they also got Hassan Reddick, a well above average pass rusher in this league. They just signed Bradbury, a corner, who I don't think he's elite, but he can be a great number 2 guy, a great slot guy, nickelback for them to bring in. I love everything they've done. Jordan Davis in the middle, especially under the tutelage of Fletcher Cox, like Nakobe Dean.
Virtually the same player, just like 15 years apart.
Nakobe Dean, maybe the steal of the draft. They did pick up a receiver too after Brown, I think later in the draft, but I don't remember the name. I loved what Philly did. I think that division is always up for grabs because nobody ever knows what's going on with those teams. The Cowboys can lead the league in every stat and lose their first playoff game. It's been 20 years since they won a playoff game.
Yeah,
and every year they're the Super Bowl pick of everybody.
I don't feel bad for them.
I think that quarterback's underrated. I think they got a good offensive line. I really like Philly. I think they could win that division. I don't see a Super Bowl run, but they could outplay the Cowboys for that.
All right, guys. So I'll step in here simply because I just Googled best offseason moves of 2022, but it's just kind of jogging my memory. And the ones on the list, I could sit here and say the Bengals getting offensive line help and all that good stuff. It's great. It's great. But one that's not on this list and I think is a humongous move would be Tyreek Hill going to the Miami Dolphins.
Why do you guys keep taking my freaking picks?
Well, the reason I'm saying that is not only is Tyreek Hill like an elite receiver, for what he's doing right now with the media in terms of hyping up, not really hyping up, but like he's supporting his quarterback right now. And people are wanting him to talk bad about Tua Tagovailoa, about how, he underthrows balls. But if you listen to him talk about his quarterback, he's giving him confidence. He's obviously the best player on the team immediately as soon as he walks through the door. So he's giving his quarterback the confidence to continue to get better and keep working. And so that's something that Tua needs. Like he needs that because he's been constantly, what's the word I'm looking for? Constantly just shit on because of everything that he's done. Whether it's deserving or not, I don't know. I don't watch the Miami Dolphins that much, but you consistently see Tyreek Hill commenting on Tua's arm strength, his work ethic, he's very talented. He's saying these things to the media, although the media is trying to get him to say other things. Like he's being a team player right now. And that's something that I think is good for Tyreek because he's always been on a team where even if he doesn't have a good game, they can pick him up and do, there's other things down there. Well, he's the dude now. He's the dude. He's the only dude. He's one of the only dudes on that team that are going to help him get over that hump and maybe make a playoff. But that's my pick.
Yeah,
I think Tyreek's second on that team in receiving stats this year.
He might be because he's going to get like every.
Yeah, he'll get to that number one cornerback.
Yeah, every game.
Yeah. And the thing that I'll touch on with the Dolphins,
he doesn't have Kelsey and all those guys to cover for him.
But he kind of does. He's got
Gesicki.
He's got Gesicki, but
Gesicki
is not Travis Kelsey.
No,
Jalen Waddle is okay.
Nobody
Jalen Waddle is good. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are similar players. But Gesicki's not Travis Kelsey.
I mean, yeah. Nobody thought Travis Kelsey was going to be Travis Kelsey. I mean, I think that's
Dave has the Dolphins beating the Bills. So
I do.
You got to take all this with a grain of salt when we start talking Dolphins with Dave.
But the thing that I think is just the cherry on top for the Dolphins, they got McDaniel, who's an offensive wizard. They go and sign Sony Michel. They go and sign Melvin Ingram, defensive end. The biggest pickup for me is Teddy Bridgewater as your backup quarterback. Because I don't know if you saw the viral tweet where they showed Tua massively underthrowing Tyreek Hill and like saying, oh, his arm strength's superior or whatever. It was terrible. And floating duck, like Peyton Manning in his last year. Somebody's got to hold on to that ship to wait for Tom Brady to get there next year. People forget that. Bill Belichick undermined Tom Brady going to the Dolphins this year. You called it out.
Yep.
I firmly believe it now. And I think so. The Dolphins, I think I might hold off on their predictions for this year because I think it's going to be next year. Because Tom Brady will be a Dolphin. He'll be on the teal and orange. And that is going to be a scary team. So
we're sitting here talking about Tom Brady, who's going to be like 46.
But he looks
age.
younger than me.
He really does. We're all 28, 29, and any of y'all 29 yet?
No.
You're the oldest.
Yeah.
Am I the oldest?
Yeah.
Yep.
When's y'all's birthdays?
I'm not releasing that information online.
Yeah, me either.
Well, mine is in November, okay?
Yeah.
I'll be 29 in November.
Tom Brady has decided in this cultural world that he's going to identify at 28, and that's what he is.
Yeah.
Nobody can say anything different. He believes he's 28. He feels he's 28, and Tom Brady is 28. He's got another 8 to 10 years in front of him.
I do like the what Dave brought up about the Dolphins, about the other offseason signings they had. Obviously, Tyreek Hill was the biggest one, but he honestly, of the names that David mentioned, may not have the biggest impact right away. So that's a good point, Dave.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to stick with the Tyreek Hill in my selection, and I'm going to say the Chiefs made the best offseason moves. They clearly unloaded Tyreek Hill because they weren't going to be able to pay him next year. I think people forget he doesn't have a great reputation as a person. I think he's been arrested a few times. So, I think
he should have went to the Raiders.
He should have. But they went and got Devontae. So
Devontae Adams.
So, I think the Chiefs kind of unload that baggage. I mean, granted, Tyreek Hill, great player. But, we've had our discussions here, so I'm going to take the high road and stay with that. They went and got Juju, which I think apples to apples, not even close. But I think Juju will be a good player for the Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes will throw him open just like he does most other guys. So then we're going to get sensational TikToks from Juju and Jackson Mahomes. Can't wait for that to roll around in September. We're going to have dancing all over Arrowhead.
They've started. I saw one like a month ago.
With the two of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
The world doesn't need that. We don't need that.
And then, one move that I loved, which wasn't even a big deal, was they went and signed the Clemson senior as an undrafted free agent.
Justin Ross.
Justin Ross.
I text you guys as soon as that happened. That was huge.
Yeah. And like we talk about it, I just said it. Nobody knew Travis Kelce was going to be Travis Kelce. Like, this guy got written off because of some injuries. And it's like, if he bounces back, they might have their next Tyreek Hill. Like, I feel like the Chiefs, they reloaded in a sense. It might not have been the same caliber of bullet or same company of bullet, but they still reloaded. And especially when that AFC West was as crazy as it was this offseason, I think they made the adequate moves to keep them basically as their front runners. I mean, we're talking about the Broncos getting Russell Wilson, the Raiders getting Devontae Adams, and so on.
The Colts, just some honorable mentions. You already mentioned Russell Wilson. The Broncos weren't a terrible team. They've got some pieces there, and then I don't know if Russell Wilson is the guy. I think he's on the back end of his career, in my opinion. He's probably at most got 4 years left worth of quality football. I don't think he's going to do anything there with Denver. I think he just needed a change of scenery, and it might energize him a little bit and give him a new fresh start, and that's sometimes what people need. But also you got Matt Ryan going to the Colts. Much better quarterback than Carson Wentz. He had struggled in Atlanta, but don't shake your head, Dave. It's right.
Overall, full picture, yeah, Matt Ryan is historically a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. Right now, I'm taking Carson Wentz over Matt Ryan.
I don't know. I just don't see it. But, Matt Ryan, another guy that's got to change his scenery to an organization that might support him and his needs a little better. I don't think Atlanta was trying to win the last couple of years. That's just my opinion. They were, hard selling everything they had. Drafting a couple of good guys doesn't help you in right then and there. But the Colts had a playoff team that didn't make the playoffs. So I think with a better quarterback, one that's, been there a time or two. I know Carson Wentz with the Eagles made a run there, but he wasn't in the game when they won the Super Bowl. So Matt Ryan, very quality quarterback also on the back end of his career. But I do think that puts them in the playoff conversation. Considering they were there anyway without him, you add him, you got, the best running back in the league, a really good defense, and a coaching staff that's invested in putting a good quality team on the field. I think that's a big move too for the league. Anybody else that you guys want to bring up?
LA obviously, Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers had a big, what receiver did they sign? They signed a big one.
They got Mike Williams back. They got Khalil Mack.
Allen Robinson.
J.C. Jackson.
Allen Robinson signed with the Rams. Never mind. Different LA team.
J.C. Jackson was a huge pickup there. Probably the best corner in the NFL right now. At least interception-wise the past few seasons. He's leading the league in those. I really like what LA did. I think I would feel confident in picking them to go to the Super Bowl.
And we discussed in y'all remember our very first podcast episode, we picked, the teams that didn't make the playoffs that are Super Bowl contenders, and I think all of us were primarily in agreement that the Chargers were one of those teams in that conversation.
Yep.
It'd be cool to look back and listen to that episode again and just kind of think back and like, okay, are we dumb for saying those things? Because a lot of stuff has happened since then.
Yeah.
But from the Chargers, we know that they've only gotten better. So that's still a quality pick to win the Super Bowl, or even at least make it to the Super Bowl. But that AFC, man, they loaded up.
Yeah,
we had Von Miller going to the Bills is huge.
We haven't talked about the Browns yet.
Just pass rushers in general. We haven't talked about the Browns. Browns are, they're gonna brown. But pass rushers going to the AFC has changed the game. Chargers had a couple of them signed. But coming back to the Cleveland Browns, they just re-signed Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett on the edge, Deshaun Watson.
He just got re-signed.
Deshaun Watson may play, may not. We don't know. Still kind of waiting on that. They got three quarterbacks on their roster. Baker Mayfield's still one of them. I did see where they are going to pick up some of his pay there, his option. Don't know what that means, but obviously he's not happy there. They don't really need him. I think they're kind of holding on to him to see what Deshaun Watson does, in my opinion. But
I don't think so, because they went and signed Jacoby Brissett, I think, as a security blanket for Deshaun. It's just they haven't found what they're wanting out of Baker yet on a trade.
They're going to have to just release him.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Nobody's going to pick him up because they know they don't want him.
I think there's some teams.
He would get picked up. I don't think anybody wants to pay for him.
But like I'm saying, like nobody's going to go out and say, "Hey, we want Baker Mayfield. What do you want for him?" And they're going to ask way too much for him, knowing that they don't want him. Like the Browns don't want him on their roster, so they're going to ask for something. It's like me. It's like you having like some kind of toy as a kid that you don't really want, but you want to trade for something good. That's what they got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I got this toy. I haven't played with it in 5 years. It's a piece of shit, but hey, give me that shiny one. Nobody's going to do that. That's just not good business.
I mean, they showed their hand too early.
They really did.
They should have traded him before they got Watson, and all that. But the thing that really stands out to me, which it might just, I don't think it'd be 1-for-1, but getting Amari Cooper. I mean, granted they lost Jarvis Landry, but he's an elite wide receiver. I think he's a top 10 receiver in the league, and Baker Mayfield didn't have that. I mean, he had Jarvis Landry. No defense.
Jarvis Landry's probably not. He's probably not top 20.
No, but he's a solid wide receiver. But he's not the playmaker that Amari Cooper is. So you get maybe Deshaun Watson only gets 2-game suspension or 4-game suspension. It's not that bad. I mean, that AFC East North is ridiculous, and you could say the Browns might have made the biggest splash depending on the pending ruling.
Yeah,
you can make a case for any of those teams in that division. The Bengals have their offensive line issues. They signed their first pick. He's a stud in the defensive backfield, and then Kenny Pickett, going to the Steelers. They've got a quarterback battle there now with the Rudolph and Trubisky, and I'm just throwing a bone to Rudolph. He ain't winning. But you got Trubisky and Kenny Pickett now battling out for the starting spot there. The Ravens are always going to be there. As long as Lamar Jackson's on the field, they got a shot at anything. And Mark Andrews is unbelievable. You're probably going to be the top ranked tight end in fantasy this year. They did get rid of one of their best receivers, but I think they got a young core there, just ready to go. And then the Browns, man. The Browns, the Bengals haven't beat the Browns since Joe Burrow's been the quarterback. Like he's not beat them yet. So, I think that's going to be one of the toughest divisions in football this year to win.
Yeah, I'm glad Dave said biggest splash, because when you put it that way, what had the biggest impact on the league, it might be a coaching hire with Flores staying in the league and going to Pittsburgh. Not necessarily the impact we're going to see on the field, but their ability as the cultural standard of the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers, being able to keep him in the coaching ranks. I think that was huge for the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, that whole Flores deal, I mean, we just mentioned it. Tom Brady probably is the Dolphins if Flores doesn't blow that whistle, or if Belichick doesn't send that text. So conveniently. But
my bad, bro.
Yeah, so I agree. The coaching aspect, I mean, players are players. They're a dime a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but you look at all these guys they just drafted, they're probably going to plug and play guys. It's about coaches and making sure you get the guys to, have the ability to win the game, give them the keys to win the game. And I think Flores is a hell of a coach, and I do not know what the hell the Miami Dolphins ownership's doing.
Nope.
Hey, but they got Tyreek Hill, so. All right, guys. We're going to wrap up today's show with that. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this literally off the dome podcast. We didn't even have anything written down.
I did.
Let's rephrase that. I didn't have anything written down. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Are you wadding up papers, Dave?
Tony
You're gonna
Reality.
have to excuse that. I ain't editing
Throwing
that
at
out.
the camera.
It's like Tony Reality. Yeah. I wish we had like buttons I can mute you guys. That'd be awesome.
I thought you did.
I can, but it's a lot of work. I'll end up clicking the wrong thing and kicking you out or something like that. But I try not to touch my keyboard. But we're going to end the show right there, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we're the TRIF3CTA Sports Podcast. Frank, Dave, and Coop coming at you every Sunday. You know, we might get it out Sundays. We might get it out next Thursday. You never know. But we appreciate the support. We're very close. I'm very close to start ordering merch so we can wear it on the show. And if you would like it, leave us a comment on any platform that you hear or watch us. You never know. We might start sending out some freebies here and there to our loyal 14 listeners. No, I'm just kidding. We have over 100 downloads. I only think a few of them are mine. I downloaded every show, but all right, we're closing it out, fellas.
Just hit end record.
He's just talking to himself.
I'm waiting for 59. Boom.